Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So we have three elections that are up at the statewide level in 2023 in terms of the governorships. We've been talking about the Wisconsin Supreme Court election, which is going to be taking place in about a couple of months or so, actually shorter than that. But we do indeed have three off-year governorships that are up for grabs. It is very true that Kentucky is still an uphill climb, even if it is still doable for Republicans. They have to play their cards correctly. They don't really have a margin for error. They're going to have to turn out enough voters to defeat the Bashir machine. Also, Louisiana is up for grabs, which does seem to be a cakewalk. Democrats really don't have anybody, and it would be a Republican flip, and the state party actually has endorsed somebody decent in Jeff Landry and not a rhino, which is a very good thing. Now, Mississippi has not been talked about a lot. A lot of people are saying it's going to be a cakewalk. You also have people that are saying it's going to flip because of the candidates that are in the running, and we'll talk about what's going to happen here. But a lot of people have been asking me to talk about Mississippi for a while, so in this video, we're going to talk about it. What's going to happen? Could Tate Reeves be primaried out, the incumbent Republican governor there, or does Brandon Presley, the Democrat, is he actually good? Does he stand a shot? We're going to cover that. But first, I have to tell you guys about my website, redeaglepolitics.com, for just 16 cents a day, or $5 a month. That's a coffee a month. You can sign up. You get 1 to 2 exclusive videos a week that you do not see on the channel if you do sign up for the website. You also get access to the Discord server and all of the articles that have been written on the website. You could do so at clicking the link in the pinned comment down below. But furthermore, we're going to be talking about Mississippi and the governorship there. And this is a state that Trump won handily at the presidential level. It is a solidly Republican state. At the Senate level or other federal offices, it is a solidly Republican state. However, everybody knows that statewide offices like the governorship, for example, do tend to be a little bit more elastic. And you saw this back in 2019. Tate Reeves, who does kind of look exactly like a real-life Peter Griffin, did defeat Jim Hood, their attorney general, who was a statewide elected official who was a Democrat, ran as a conservative. But Tate Reeves still, even though he wasn't super popular, he beat him by over 5 percentage points in 2019. This happened right before 2020, in the months leading up to the first COVID outbreak or whatever. It was a very different time. And this was actually the last election with the state electoral college. Mississippi actually had a state electoral college where I believe you had to win a majority of counties if you did not win a majority of the popular vote, which I don't really see why that was that controversial. I wouldn't really be opposed to that being the case in future elections instead of runoffs, for example, which really can throw the dynamic out of whack in places like Georgia. But furthermore, 2023, that's where we are right now. We have an election that is coming up, and Tate Reeves, who barely got by last time against a self-described conservative Democrat, even if their conservatism or whatever does tend to be a grift, now he's going to be facing another one in Brandon Presley. And Brandon Presley has basically gotten the nomination for the Democrats. It doesn't seem like they're going to challenge him. He's already gotten the Benny Thompson endorsement, which is a very powerful one to have. He is the sole Democrat representative from the state of Mississippi, and it's very possible that he could win. He's the Mississippi Public Service Commissioner. Rhetorically speaking, he talks like a conservative, and he doesn't have a lot of baggage. We'll talk about why he's probably grifting at least some of his positions, but either way, we understand. He's somebody who can have this optical appeal of being an old school blue dog Democrat in the state of Mississippi, which was a state that consistently elected those types of Democrats to statewide office up into the 2000s, and he's trying to recapture that. Now, polarization has kicked in. Doesn't matter. You could put the worst possible Republican up against the best possible Democrat. it's Mississippi. The Republicans are going to win. And it's also an off-year election. We don't know what black turnout is going to be in Mississippi, even though it was pretty high in Louisiana and Mississippi back in 2019. And given changes to the way the Dems have been viewing the election system, could be even higher in 2023. So this is kind of a warning. If Reeves does get the nomination, this will possibly go down the wire. You have this self-described conservative, pro-life Democrat in Brandon Presley. First of all, his name is Brandon. You have the Let's Go Brandon meme. Maybe he could use that to his advantage somehow. His last name is Presley. He actually is related to Elvis, which is not even a meme, by the way. It even says so on his Wikipedia page, and this is actually true and confirmed, and that's been talked about for a while. But either way, this is a guy who won a Trump plus 23, I believe, statewide public service commission district by a ridiculous margin. He won it by like 30 points. He won like a Trump plus 60 town back when he was mayor of Nettleton by a sizable margin. And he could potentially capitalize off of the unpopularity of Tate Reeves to win, because this state is actually not as Republican as a state like Kentucky. And we saw Matt Bevin go down back in 2019. He was not popular. He had scandals, whatever. Reeves has faced criticism. It says so on Wikipedia. They actually put it pretty well, that he's received a lot of criticism because he hasn't handled the Jackson water crisis well, which is kind of like the Flint water crisis all over again, except this time it's in Mississippi. And he does have ties to welfare corruption scandals. And that's in a state where a lot of the voters are not really that wealthy. Even a lot of the white voters, a lot of the Republican voters in Mississippi are poor. And if you have a welfare corruption scandal, that doesn't really bode too well for you. And speaking about cultural issues, because that would be the crutch, what if he's really good on like the cultural issues? He's not. He changed the state flag for woke reasons back in 2020, caving into the woke mob. Yeah, some people might say the new flag looks better. I might even agree. But the reason why he changed it did not sit well with a lot of people. So somebody prominent ideally, needs to challenge Tate Reeves for the Republican nomination, because you talk about eluctability. The establishment has talked about it for a while. Tate Reeves is very establishment, but is he really that eluctable? Yeah, I don't know. So you have a lot of Republican candidates who potentially could run. Some of them need to run. You obviously have some people that have already thrown their hat in the ring, but they're not really super prominent. And you also have multiple of them. They're probably going to split the vote of just the people who would vote for anybody but Reeves, not even knowing anything about the specific candidates. But either way, somebody ideally does need to step in, because Reeves is somebody who could get that nomination and then lose, and that really would not be a good look for Republicans or the party, and it would kind of look like they've lost control of a deeply Republican state, even though the state is not gone at the federal level. And yes, they're going to get Louisiana back, more likely than not. They still could hold Mississippi even with Tate Reeves, but why risk it? I think it's very probable that he does get primaried. And you don't want to let somebody like Brandon Presley into power. He claims to be conservative, he claims to be pro-life, whatever, but could he be a Trojan horse? You look at his old tweets, and he's going back there, he was saying they're scared of Hillary Clinton back in 2016. So he's always been kind of a Democrat. And he has endorsed Republicans in the past. He endorsed George Bush in 2004. That was the endorsement. But when it came to Trump or Hillary, no, he was siding with Hillary back in 2016. So if anything, he's only crossed over to support establishment Republicans. He is somebody who can masquerade as like being this populist, old school Democrat, and it might work out well for him to his advantage here and there, electorally speaking. But at the end of the day, is he like a good Democrat? No, not necessarily. He might be the closest thing you'll see to that in this day and age. He might be like this Joe Manchin type, but even so, he's going to be worse than an establishment Republican. He's probably at best going to be the John Bel Edwards of the state of Mississippi. And there are plenty of things that John Bel Edwards has done during his tenure that really don't sit well with me, and they shouldn't sit well with anybody that's even remotely conservative. But furthermore, I will say that Reeves is no guarantee to be the nominee. We'll see who jumps in. The primary is going to be taking place on August 8th, which is about 5 to 6 months from now. So we're going to have a lot of time to cover it. I'm sure we'll watch what's happening. We'll see who exactly is going to be rising up in the Republican side of things on the polls. Are Democrats going to challenge Brandon Presley, maybe put somebody a little bit more liberal up there? I don't think so. And even if they did, I think Presley would still manage to get the nomination in the state of Mississippi. And it's going to be a close one. You look at the polls that have been out. We really haven't seen a lot of polls, but generic opponent beats Tate Reeves 57 to 33, even in the same poll that had Reeves beating Presley. And Presley has led the latest Mississippi Today poll. And again, polls are polls. We've seen polls in 2022 that were off in one direction. We've seen polls in 2016, 2018, 2020 that were way off in the other direction. So you can only really use them as a basic guide. They're not perfect, especially this far out. But what we do know is this thing could be close. It could go down the wire because so many people hate Tate Reeves. He is the most unpopular Republican governor in the country right now, just like Matt Bevin was, and also leading a deeply Republican state the way that Matt Bevin was. So we'll wait and see what happens. I'm not saying that this is guaranteed to flip, but it will be interesting to watch it regardless, and hopefully we will see Tate Reeves get primaried, and that's how he will lose. And then whatever Republican that rises up will defeat the probable grifter known as Brandon Presley. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.